Welcome back, my friends. My name is Steph, and today I am filming my mid-year freakout tag. Now, technically, we are like halfway through July, so we're not really mid-year anymore, but here we are. I have no excuses. I just couldn't be bothered filming and editing, but now we are here. Is this like a very uncomfortable lip color for me? Yes. So this is basically just going to be me answering questions about the first half of the year in terms of my reading. I'm sure everyone has seen this before. If you haven't, like, I'm just answering questions. So before we start, I will just say I've tried to make it so that none of these answers are repeated. My brother has said to me that this is ridiculous, that if a book has hit multiple questions, I should just let it be the answer for multiple questions. However, I disagree. I feel like in this video, I want you to see as many books as possible. So that's just like a little disclaimer, and let's just get into it. Okay, so the first question is, what has been my best book of the year so far? I'm only counting anything I read up to the end of June. So with that, my answer is going to be Monstrilio. This book was so much more than I expected. I actually didn't think I would like this. I enjoyed it. It is pitched as a horror. It's not really, it's more about family. So we are following a woman and her husband. They have just lost their son, Santiago, because of a lung disorder. And the mother decides to cut a piece of his lung out and just keep it, and eventually gets the idea to feed the lung, and the lung grows and becomes Monstrilio, its own being. It is not her son, but it is also not her son. It was a very interesting book. It made me a little bit happy, it made me a little bit sad, and I don't think it was really a horror. Like, there were some scenes, trigger warnings if you care about like animal deaths, but I really enjoyed it. It was just a really lovely book, which you wouldn't expect. Next question is my favorite sequel of the year. So for this one, I have picked Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is the last book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, and while it is like a little bit ridiculously long for a romance, I have a lot of opinions about romance books that are over like 400 pages. This big boy checked in at 580 pages. It was a little bit long, but I think it was a really great way to tie up this series. This is following Callahan, and Alana, and it is a second chance romance. Next was a new release that I haven't read yet, and it is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. There's actually a bunch I could pick for this one, like the newest Riley Sager, the newest Emily Henry, which I still haven't gotten around to reading, but this is the one that like I need to read because Abby Jimenez can do no fucking wrong. I don't even know what this story is about. Okay, I just know I needed to read it like yesterday, and I still haven't. I have got my most anticipated book for the second half of the year. For this one, it was really hard to choose. There are so many books that I cannot wait to get into, but this one I've picked a horror that I think is either going to be a new all-time favorite or I'm going to unhaul straight away, and it is The Lamb by Lucy Rose. I've heard so much about this book. This book follows a mother and daughter. They're kind of isolated. I believe they live in the woods, and typically when like a stranger comes across their cabin, they bring the person in, are very hospitable up until they kill and eat the person. But things change one day when a young woman arrives at the cabin and the daughter is enamored. So that's all I know about it. The next question is my biggest disappointment of the year. I don't own this book anymore. I've unhauled it. My biggest disappointment of the year was The Girls by Emma Cline. This book I had in my head built it up to be this like really interesting, mysterious, thrilling cult story, and it kind of wasn't that at all. It was kind of a half-assed attempt at a retelling of the Manson murders, except through a child's eyes. And I feel like the book focused a lot on this main character. It was more of a coming-of-age story for her than, you know, a cult story about the Manson murders. So I have unhauled that book, and I don't think I'm going to read any more Emma Cline, to be honest. Next we have got, oh, the biggest surprise. This again is a book I picked up and I didn't really have super high expectations. I initially didn't love the cover. I do now because like I understand the cover, but when I first saw this book I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot, but I just don't think it's gonna be for me. And lo and behold, this is arguably one of my favorite books I've read so far this year. It is The Heart by David Sodergren. I thought that David Sodergren wrote just like your typical splatterpunk. No, this has gory scenes. Like, granted it does. This follows a woman named Muriel. She is an elderly lady. She's living in the Scottish Highlands, and her city, or her little town, has been taken over by a big corporation who basically is demolishing all the houses and taking over the land. Very corporate, big bads, and this little old lady who just wants to defend her home. Things get a bit weird one day when she's on the beach and she comes across this like gelatinous creature that seems to be dying. So Muriel takes it upon herself to bring this creature into her home and nurture it and take care of it. And this book is wild. It is like part horror, part creature feature, part romance. I don't know how to explain it without giving away any spoilers, man. I would honestly say if you are interested at all in reading the horror, go into it completely blind like I did. I had no idea what this book was about. I didn't even know that it was about an older main character until the first chapter. So it was such a good book. I have now since purchased 2 more David Sodergren books and I am so excited to get into them. The next question is my favorite new author. So either a debut author or a new to me author. For this one, I have actually gone with Charlotte McConaughey because of Wild Dark Shore that I read this year. I don't know how to explain this writing. Typically, I don't really like super descriptive settings. To me, I'm not a settings person, but somehow Charlotte McConaughey has made me care about settings because the isolation in this setting, the way she described this island and its creatures was beautiful. The way she developed these characters, beautiful. The way she like unthreaded, unspooled, unpicked this fabric of a story was so beautiful. So again, I have since purchased Once There Were Wolves by her. I haven't read it yet, but I think she's going to be like a new all-time favorite author based on this book. Oh, next we've got my newest fictional crush. This one for me was pretty easy, I think, especially because I was answering these questions around the time I read this book, and it is Benji from the Dead Romantics. This book was not so much a romance story as like a story of grief and mourning and loss. The way that Benji was there for Florence was wild. I mean, there were I don't want to spoil this book. Basically, Benji, he's our ghost boy. Okay, this is a romance between Florence, an alive human, and Benji, our ghost. And he very quickly kind of puts aside the fact that he has died. Like, he doesn't get too hung up on it. He doesn't pester Florence for like, okay, help me move on. How do I deal with this? Like, what happened to me? He is very quickly aware, like, oh, Florence is also grieving and Florence needs my support and I'm going to be there and I'm going to help her. And it was so easy to fall in love with Benji. The whole time I was screaming, I'm like, Florence, like, girly pop. Like, I know that he's a ghost, but like, you need to get together. So I loved Benji. And I recently read The 7 Year Slip. And there was one scene with Benji, and Benji was just like the cutest. Next we have my newest favorite character. Now technically, this is not a new favorite character. This is like a resurgence of a favorite character because. So I decided this year to purchase the physical editions and reread Long Exposure by Mars Hayward. Now, Long Exposure, I initially read online as a webcomic, and this here is Mitch, and Mitch is my absolute fucking favorite. Mitch is like a school bully with a heart of gold. Like, he like picks on Jonah, but not in like a super violent, aggressive way. He kind of just does it because like he gets a kick out of it, until you realize that maybe like there's a little bit more going on with how he feels about Jonah. And these two embark on this journey of like superhero powers and evading the government and dealing with each other's personal lives, like family lives. And I just love Mitch because Mitch's emotions are so fucking strong, and I loved him. And he's so like protective and he's so like masculine, but he's also like a big softy at heart. I love Mitch. I would recommend Long Exposure to basically anyone. And I love my precious boys. I love them both, but Mitch is probably my favorite. Next question is a book that made me cry. This is the easiest. It's obviously Song of Achilles. I bawled for like the last 50 pages of this book. I mean, I started crying and then I did not stop until after I'd read the last page. This book, I don't know, man. This just follows Achilles and Patroclus, and if you care at all about Greek mythology and you care about two gay boys that just want to be happy together but everything is pulling them apart, then this is a book for you. I don't feel like I need to recommend this book. Like, this book came out, you know, some 10 years ago, 12 years ago, so I was late to the party. But if you have been putting this book off like I was, I need you to amend that straight away because this book had me sobbing. Okay, next is a book that made me happy / made me laugh. For this, I have got a full trilogy of books, and it is the Knock 'Em Out series by Miss Lucy Score. So we have got Things We Never Got Over, we've got Things We Left Behind, and we have got Things We Had From the Light. Now, this series is a trilogy that follows a different couple in each book, right? Now, what I will say is it's a very like small town romance series, but it's also got a little bit of crime, a little bit of mystery going on in the background, which I really enjoyed. But these books did make me very, very happy. Like, I fell in love with these characters, and I'm so goddamn excited, guys, because I am getting to meet Miss Lucy Score in September. She's coming to Australia. She's coming to Melbourne. So these big boys, I'm somehow, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to like buy a backpack. Somehow I'm going to lug these 3 hardcovers to this movie theater and get them signed. So, and I also get an exclusive hardcover of one of her newest books. I'm so excited to meet Lucy. The next question is the most beautiful books that I have bought. I think it's the most beautiful book I bought in the first half of the year, but I actually bought a set of books that I think are the most stunning books that I own. And luckily I have read this entire series, and I think the series is beautiful on the inside as well. And it is the Lovelight Farm series by B.K. Borison. But yeah, I just think these books are so beautiful. Like, genuinely beautiful books. The last question is my favorite book to movie adaptation. I'm gonna be honest, guys, I don't really watch movie adaptations of books anymore. So I changed this question to suit myself, and I changed it to a book I would like to see adapted into a movie, because there are just so many book to movie adaptations now where I don't think they're warranted. Like, the book I have picked for this question is It Will Only Hurt for a Moment by Delilah S. Dawson. This is probably another one of my favorites from the first half of the year. Not the favorite, but one of my favorites. So we are following our main character, Sarah. Sarah is basically running from a hella abusive relationship. She's signed up to go to this like artist retreat set at an old hotel spa hotel, a place that had a spa and a hotel for the guests to stay at. And there she meets a bunch of other eccentric artists, and almost as soon as she gets there, weird things start happening. The first weird occurrence that is probably non-spoilery is she finds a coffin buried on the side of a hill. There's a body inside, and she's like, this isn't a cemetery. This was meant to be a spa retreat in the past. Why was there a coffin with a body buried on the side of the hill? And from there, she just has more questions because weird shit keeps on happening. I just think this book is super atmospheric. I just think it would be an interesting time. I cannot see it happening. Like, I just don't think Delilah S. Dawson is popular enough to get a book to movie adaptation. Maybe she will, and if they do change this to a movie, I will definitely fucking watch it. Also, check your trigger warnings. I don't care. I can read anything without trigger warnings and I'm fine, but there are quite a few triggering things in this book, so probably check that before you read it. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I just think it would be a really cool movie visually. That brings us to the end of the mid-year freakout tag. I have never done this tag before, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I like it. I hope you guys have a great day and a great next 6 months of reading. If anyone watches this, what are you reading? Or if you want to answer the questions in the comments below, or you have your own video that you want me to watch, just let me know. But no one ever comments on these videos, very few people watch them, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day.